So just to begin with, what went into casting him, or basically why was he cast in that role, I guess?
Well, to me, it was extremely important to create a movie that was of a piece with the visuals and the human message of it, if you would. And the idea behind the entire casting of the film was to show a diversity not only of race or color, but of ideology, of saying that of approach to heroism. Like, you can be heroic by being smart, you can be heroic by being a leader, you can be heroic by being able to self-sacrifice yourself for the good of others, and try to avoid the sort of WASP, one country, one ideology, one military way to save the world. You know, that was part and parcel of that. And Idris, he was very, very happy that we cast him. I admired him in The Wire first. I saw him in The Wire, and I thought, wow, what a great American actor, you know. I wrote down his name. And then I saw him on Luther on the BBC, and I asked Neil Cross when I met him in New Zealand, I said, that American actor really is very good with the London accent. And Neil said, no, it's the opposite. He is a London actor that did an American accent. And I met with Idris and I said, look, you're not playing a secondary character that dies in the first 10 minutes. You're not playing the secondary character that says all the technical stuff and dies in the background after 30 minutes. You're playing the moral center of this movie. You're playing the authority, the guy that will never give up, the guy that is the leader. And he was really, really taken by that. And then he said to me, what accent should I do it in? Do you want neutral American? Do you want East Coast? I said, do it in your own accent. I want you to be able to represent an entire country, an entire race. And I mean, each character represented sort of that. And it was very important for me to keep it like that.
Okay, I've got more, but go ahead. Anybody else with things?
The English one.
You mentioned that when you were a kid, you loved shows like Ultraman.
Yeah.
What was it about the giant robots shows of the 60s that appealed to you so
Well,
much?
the tokusatsu, the science fiction from Japan, when I was a kid, was very varied. You know, I got there was a show like Captain Ultra that was great, or Space Giants, or all the Tsuburaya series like Ultraman, Ultra 7, and so forth. What was great is the inventiveness. There's two things that the Japanese do very differently than any other country in the world. One is robots. First of all, because they don't have the guilty relationship with technology that we have. They don't have a warning about technology being bad and coming back to haunt you. They embrace technology with great love, non-judgmentally, and that allows their giant robots to be almost mythical heroes,
Right.
like that walk the earth. That's very unique on the mecha. And on the monster front is almost the same, because they love monsters. They are the yokai. The mythology of the yokai is completely integrated in their daily life. They assign a spirit or a guardian or a creature to every element, the water, fire, and so forth, for their daily life. They do have a belief in spirits guarding the woods and so forth. And the kaiju are, by extension, these giant monsters, are guardians of an almost elemental nature. Godzilla, which is the first great kaiju, was birthed by Ishiro Honda after World War II. And in many, many ways, through Godzilla, Japan was able to heal and come to terms with the tragedies of World War II. And the moment a giant monster healed a country, the country embraced that monster genre with a passion, and Godzilla mutated into a good guy. He started as a bad guy, ended up being a good guy, and then it gave birth to many, many other kaiju, including the phenomenon called as dai-kaiju, which is the movies where many kaijus are together. So they are loved like national heroes. Yeah.
So can we ask something in Spanish now?
One more in English over here, real fast. ILM, the special effects are amazing in the movie. Was ILM involved from the beginning, or did you ever consider Ueda, given your relationship with them on The Hobbit?
No, I always wanted ILM. We had prepped a movie called The Mountains of Madness that didn't happen. I went through the whole process of talking about the effects with them, especially with John Knoll. From the beginning, the deal we struck with ILM was very special. It necessitated me to be very linear and very controlled in delivering the effects, to be highly involved in each stage of the effects progress in order to stay on budget. Happy to report we stayed under budget, not on budget, under budget. And they became really creative partners for me, because directing VFX is a little like directing animation, you know, and you need to be involved in everything that looks accidental in the frame. You are provoking that it happens. And I think it's one of those rare movies that everybody at ILM was galvanized to do, because the dream of every effects animator is to create either robots or monsters or both of them. Favorite scenes are, in terms of spectacle and show, the scene that is called the Battle for Hong Kong, which is a 25-minute huge set piece that starts in the Pacific Ocean and ends up in outer space. And I don't think has there ever been a more spectacular scene in any movie. That is really rewarding for me technically, but from an artistic point of view and a personal point of view, I'm most taken by the memory of Mako losing everything to an attack in Tokyo. And I have this fantastic image of a girl walking with her broken heart, which is a red shoe in her hand. And it allows me, one thing I did constantly in the movie is to compare and contrast the most gigantic with the smallest. For example, in that scene we have a monster that looks like a living temple, gigantic, more than 20 stories high, and you have a little shoe, you know? And it's really, really as close as I get to a fantasy moment in the movie, where a princess is rescued from a dragon by a knight in shining armor, and it changes her life.
It is a beautiful scene. I really, really enjoyed the film a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very
Muchas
much.
gracias.
gracias.
Arigato.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Tomar una foto con este.
Thank you, Desne.